Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 7, text 18. Udaraha sarva evaite gnani tvatmaiva me matam astitah sahi yuktatma mamevānuttamām gatim. So Krishna, in the previous verse, he has said, the previous verses, these four classes of people, they approach me, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, Arto jignasu ardharthi, Gnani cha bhartarshabha. And then in the previous verse said, Tesham gnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir visishyate. That, that gnani, who is in full knowledge of me and engaged in devotional service, is very special. And then a doubt might come that does that mean that the other kinds of people who approach Krishna, they are considered lower? So Krishna clarifies here, Sarva, all these devotees, Sarva eva ete, Udaraha, Udaraha Sarva eva ete, all are undoubtedly magnanimous souls. But Gnani too, but the Gnani or the person who is in knowledge and at the same time engaged in devotional service, I consider verily to dwell in me. Gnani tu atmaiva me matam. He dwells in me. And being engaged in my transcendental service, he attains me. Astitaha sahi yuktatma, because he is engaged in devotional service always. Mameva anuttamam gatim. He will definitely attain me. Anuttamam gatim, the highest goal, destination. So, Krishna, he is giving special importance to a devotee who has come to the complete understanding about Krishna and Krishna consciousness. Naturally, because at that point he fully understands the value of surrender to Krishna and he remains steady in spite of tribulations. So one time a visitor asked the question where we say that in Krishna consciousness we give love to Krishna unconditionally. Ahaituki apratihata, we engage in Krishna's service, unmotivated service without seeking anything. And then she asked the question, what about the troubles life throws every now and then? So I answered that, see, let's say there is a clay pot, and say if it is not properly made without proper heat. So this clay pot, if it is not heated for a long time, it can break into pieces if it is not heated well before using. So just like that, if we do not go through the struggles and fights or the tribulations of life, how do we able to become strong like the clay pot? We will easily break when there is a problem. If our devotion and Krishna consciousness has to be strong, then it is Krishna's way of making us strong, heating the clay pot. So this is how Krishna makes this beautiful clay pots from us. Or, for example, there are two pieces of stone, and one stone is carved into a beautiful deity, and the other stone is just a stone. And say, let's So let's say both are placed next to each other. So naturally, people will come and adore, admire, and take photographs, selfies with the stone that is carved into a beautiful statue. And nobody goes to the stone which is uncarved. But in the process of carving that stone, the person who carves the stone has to hit that stone with his chisel so many times that stone gets chopped off and intricate carving is done. And only then, after painstakingly carving that stone, and when that painstaking trouble is endured for a long time, that stone became a beautiful statue. So, because that stone let that carver, let him work on it, use it for his art, as a result, the end product was so beautiful. So, like that, in Krishna consciousness, we have to let the Lord use our body, our mind, our senses, everything in the service of Krishna. And in that process, there is an element of surrender. Only when you surrender, Krishna will let, Krishna will act through you. Surrender means we have to sometimes give up our independent free will. No, I will not do this. I will not do that. No, why are you telling me that? And our ego and our likes and dislikes, our independent nature comes out. But just like the stone was able to take that for its own good, we have to endure. And then Krishna, he will use it. Once Krishna makes this beautiful statue out of us, will become much more useful for Krishna in his service. When Sanatan Goswami, he retired from his active service to the Nawab, the king of Bengal, and went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He escaped actually. He was put in jail. The Nawab said, if you're escaping from my service, I'll put you in jail. So he was put in jail. But somehow, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he got out of the jail and he walked through the jungles so as not to get caught. And as a result, he contracted some dangerous disease by which there were pus and blood formed on different parts of his body. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not care about these things. As soon as Sanatan Goswami went, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just embraced him out of love. And all that obnoxious substances were smearing the body, the transcendental body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sanatan Goswami felt so horrible that my life is useless, firstly, because I have wasted all my life in sense gratification and in becoming a mlecha, in associating with those who have no Vedic culture and Krishna consciousness. And now, even after coming to Krishna consciousness, I have given trouble to the Lord. I have no use for this body. And he was contemplating committing suicide and ending his body without giving further trouble to anyone. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being the super soul in his heart, he detected that. And he said, my dear Sanatan, you think your body belongs to you? The moment you surrender to Krishna, it is Krishna's possession. Your body doesn't belong to you, it belongs to Krishna. How can you kill? How can you destroy somebody else's property? Krishna wants to achieve wonderful things through you. And Krishna did achieve. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did achieve wonderful things through Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was sent to Vrindavan. Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami were sent to Vrindavan to excavate these lost places of Krishna's pastimes. In the course of time, they were lost. They were asked to bring them back. And they were asked to write Vaishnava literatures for educating people the intricacies of devotional service, the etiquettes, the regulations, the processes from Shastra. And they did write, and that paved the way for the next set of generations. So, how our body, our mind, pranayir ardhair dhiya vacha, shreya acharanam sada. We have to use everything for Krishna service. And for that, we need knowledge to endure, to understand, and to stay steady in this process of Krishna consciousness. The Supreme Lord, He promises in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Krishna says He personally takes care of those who completely engage in His devotional service. He provides what we lack and He preserves what we have. So, why should we bother the Lord for something material? So, the prayers for asking material, they are not necessary. The Lord knows already. Like, for example, somebody is working hard for his daily wage and he's hardly getting his daily food from the wages. But he's a skilled person. But by karma, he was not able to get a good job. And he is earning his daily wages, hardly providing for his family. And then suddenly the king saw him. He's such a great craftsman, but he's not being used for properly. The king said, okay, I'll hire you from today. You work for me and you can do this for me. And then he hired. And the next day, the worker came to the king and asked. Of course, the worker was very jubilant that the king has hired him. But he had a question. And the worker came and asked the king, oh, it's very nice you hired me. Will you be able to provide food for me every day? So, how silly that question is. And the king was laughing at his ignorance. Once you come to the court of the king, once you live with the king, there is no dearth of anything for you. Everything is taken for your shelter, your food, your clothing, all the comforts. You're living with the king. Of course, you are not the king, but all the facilities will be taken care of. Because that is the position of living with the king, doing the personal service for the king. So, any devotee who materially prays for the Lord for material things is like that. The Lord knows what we need. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham, Krishna says. So, anybody who takes to Krishna consciousness is like the person who is hired by the king, the biggest king, the best master, Krishna. Our fortune has changed from being a daily wage, hardly earning for our food, daily food, to that of an opulent worker under the most opulent master. Our fortune is changed by the mercy of a pure devotee who has introduced us to that king, the Supreme Master, Krishna. All we need to do is focus on how to serve the king best of our ability, and everything will be taken care. But even otherwise, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of our previous acharyas, he explains that even if a devotee wishes the Lord to fulfill a particular desire, the devotee should not be considered a Sakama Bhakta. Sakama Bhakta means a Bhakta with some motive. As Krishna said, these four classes of people, they come with a motive. Some come with the motive of asking money, some come with the motive of eradicating some distress they have, and some with the motive of some inquisitiveness, gaining knowledge, and some purely looking for knowledge and speculation. So, these kind of things. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, this Artha and Ardharthi who approach the Supreme Lord for relief from misery and for some money, even though they may appear to be Sakama Bhaktas, meaning they have some Kama in their mind that they want to satisfy, but they are not, even though they may appear to be. They are just ignorant. Because Krishna is here saying, Udaraha sarva evaite. All of them are magnanimous, even though they may come to me asking apparently some material things, just because of ignorance. Because in due course of time, all of that will vanish. The other example given is the mango tree. The mangoes, when it starts to come, it is greenish, and it takes time for it to become ripened and become yellowish and sweet, the most sweet, because it has been connected to the right tree. It has been connected to the mango tree. Eventually, it will become yellow. We will not say, "Oh, this is not a mango tree, mango fruit," isn't it? It's just a matter of time before it becomes ripened. It is still a mango fruit. So, likewise, anybody who comes and becomes a devotee of Krishna, even though they may have material desires and may explicitly ask Krishna for material desires, they are still considered udaraha. Krishna is saying, still they are mangoes. They're all udaraha. That is why it is said, Bhagavatam says, Akamaha sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. A person, if he is udaradhihi means, dhi means intelligence, udara means broader intelligence. So if a person actually has broader intelligence, he will come to Krishna whether he has all kinds of material desires, sarvakama, or he is free from material desires, akama, or he desires liberation to merge into impersonal effulgence, mokshakama. They all must, all means, by all means, worship Krishna, come to Krishna consciousness. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. And Krishna satisfies their desires in a way that eventually they will also be purified. Krishna knows how to satisfy what they want. What is that really they want? Because we may be in our own foolish way thinking, oh, this is what I need, without thinking what kind of burden it will place on our head. Like Prabhupada gives the example. So a child is playing and he wants to eat, he's eating mud and it is hurting him and it is spoiling his stomach and his hunger is not satisfied. The father stops the child from doing that and the child starts to cry. And instead, the father takes him home and gives him a nice sandesh, nice sweet, nice food, and the child becomes happy. But in the course of the time, the child is thinking, "Oh, my father is, doing this to me, doing this to me. He's not letting me do. I want this, I want this, I want this." The father is saying, "No, I'm not going to give that," isn't it? So our asking for something material is like that. We are asking to eat all mud, which harms us, which is not tasty. But in our own mind, we are thinking, "Oh, other people are eating that." Or I'm somehow amplifying that in the mind. "Oh, this is how I'll become happy. I want this house. I want this job. I want this particular person as my wife or husband. I want a son. I want a daughter." Whatever it is, X, Y, Z. But sometimes Krishna gives, sometimes Krishna doesn't. We have to have faith that if Krishna is not giving, that is like mud. It's not good for us. Wait for that nice sandesh that Krishna gives. Even in Bhagavatam, Lakshmi Devi, she she tells, she advises in the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that the devotees who approach the Lord with material desires, they don't need to ask him for anything material because the Lord is Kamadeva. Automatically he will satisfy. So we should not bother him with material requests. So she says that the prayer in Bhagavatam that even great personalities, the great demigods, including and even demons, they undergo severe penances and austerities to receive Lakshmi Devi's benedictions, isn't it? Everybody seeks after Lakshmi Devi's benediction to the extent that they put picture of Lakshmi Devi exclusively, and people do Lakshmi Puja. They worship the deity of Lakshmi Devi to the exclusion of Narayana. Everybody seeking after fortune, goddess of fortune. But she says, even though they seek like this, I do not favor anyone, however great he may be, unless he is always engaged in the service of Krishna's lotus feet. I cannot favor anyone but a devotee, she says. This is Bhagavatam 5.18.22. So Lakshmi Devi clearly says she does not bestow her favor on any materialistic person. Then how does a materialistic person become opulent? Because that opulence is bestowed upon him by Durga Devi, not Lakshmi Devi. Then how does it matter? Even Durga Devi is giving opulence. It doesn't, it's okay, no? But then those that get those kind of opulences are called Maya Sukha, illusory happiness. They come and go, and it is based on your karma. But the opulence obtained by a devotee, bestowed by Lakshmi Devi, they are not illusory. They satisfy the devotee, and the devotee uses that for Krishna's service, which is eternal, which is not illusory. Like one example Prabhupada gives, devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, they achieved extraordinary material opulences. That is not Maya Sukha, that is not illusory happiness. They are bestowed by Lakshmi Devi, who resides in the heart of Narayana. And they lived for a long time, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, with all opulence, but using that opulence in serving the Lord. They did not entangle them further. Similarly, Prabhupada also writes, it's a very interesting example that he writes in this is his own words. We have actually seen that one of the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to enjoy the property of his spiritual master. And the spiritual master, being merciful toward him, gave him the temporary property, but not the power to preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. That special mercy of the power to preach is given to a devotee who does not want anything material from his spiritual master, but only to serve him, but wants only to serve him. That means if you want something material, you will get material, but you will not get spiritual. Like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave that disciple, okay, you take the property, you take the opulence, but that's all you will get. The real opulence is that devotional service, the power to preach. That Prabhupada got. Like Prabhupada gives another example. Although Ravana tried to abduct the goddess of fortune, Sita Devi, from the custody of Lord Rama, he could not possibly do so because Kurma Purana says that the Sita Devi he forcibly took was not the original Sita Devi. She was an expansion of Maya, Durga Devi. So, as a result, instead of winning the favor of the real goddess of fortune, Ravana, he got Maya favor and his whole family were vanquished by the power of Durga Devi. So, a, a person in knowledge who cultivates this knowledge, real knowledge of Krishna consciousness, he aspires to render service to Krishna in a pure way without disturbing Krishna with anything material. And that is why Krishna says, Gnani tu atma eva me matam. One should come to the stage of pure devotional service. Of course, one should not think, unless I become a scholar, I won't be able to understand Krishna conscious philosophy. Therefore, I cannot become that bhakta that Krishna is thinking of me or Krishna is wanting everyone to become. Bhagavatam therefore clarifies that Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Asu Vairagyam Gnanam Chaya Dahaitukam. You don't have to be a great scholar. If you engage in devotional service sincerely to Krishna, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha, automatically it generates Janayati Asu very soon. Vairagyam Gnanam Ahaitukam. That detachment and knowledge, causeless knowledge of Krishna develops automatically. So, of course, that does not also mean that if you have capability, you should not read the books and understand the philosophy. No, if you have capability, use it. Pranair ardhair dhiya vacha. Our intelligence, words, minds should be used for cultivating the sublime knowledge of Krishna and engaging Krishna service. And if you don't have the capacity, you engage anyway, and Krishna gives you. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Sadat Pranam, all
Hare
Gaurish.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, in today's class, I have a question. You gave an example of whatever situation or anything given to you, treat it as a desert kind. And but for people like me who are just starting to do this sadhana, we are put in situations of non-devotees most of the time, and uh, eventually our heart will ask Lord, not material desires but the spiritual desires, could you please like make this as a devotee home so that we can stay here more longer time or something like that, some spiritual desires. but but still sometimes the situations doesn't change at all. So in that case, should how should we treat it? Like, is it still a God's gift so that we are put there, or we are not supposed to ask Lord?
No,
For
you can
husband,
continue. You can continue your prayers. So sometimes things take a long time, or it may be because of Krishna's desire only. We never know. We cannot tell. We are not in a position to talk to Krishna and hear what Krishna is trying to convey purely in our heart. We can only follow what the spiritual master advises us, what Bhagavad Gita advises us, which is to continue to engage in devotional service and to continue to pray. So that praying is not material, because you are anything in relation to serving the Lord is not material. Anything which is in relation to our body and for our sense pleasure, that is material. So because you are praying for serving Krishna through your family, so that is not material. So that is spiritual. It's not a material desire. So you should continue to pray. And whether it happens or not, that is up to Krishna's hands. Krishna might have several reasons for it. There is also the free will of the jiva. That is why Krishna says, Yadhechasi tadha kuru. Krishna gives that free will to the living entity. He does not force. But Krishna definitely, if the devotee is praying, Krishna definitely will prioritize. As in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, because of Gopinath Acharya, your brother in law, he was a devotee, he prayed for you. That's why Krishna became merciful to you. So, always the devotee's prayers will help, and whether it happens soon or not is not in our hands. That there may be several reasons, but Krishna is in control of the situation. Krishna is sanctioning what is happening, even though apparently it may seem the worst thing to happen. But we have to have confidence that Krishna sanctioned it. Krishna is sanctioning it. Krishna is taking time for granting what I want. Maybe for a different, even Prabhupada's case. Krishna never let Prabhupada settle in his family life, and his wife could not be transformed as Prabhupada expected. She continued to remain unfavorable for the way he wanted. But that Krishna did it for a reason. So we don't know. So we have to have that confidence, that dhairya, that patience has to be there, that conviction, nischaya has to be there. I hope that clarifies some things that you had in mind.
yes, Prabhuji. So I also had one more question regarding praying for others. I
Mhm.
heard somewhere in Shastra, I don't know where I read it. It says you can only pray when the kids are of certain age. Only then the consciousness will be. Only until that age, only a mother can pray for the kids. But after they are like an adult, like your every soul has its own journey, so even your prayers cannot affect that soul anymore. So there is no need to pray after certain age for when a kid is grown to an adult. Is that true, Prabhuji?
No, you can pray for anybody at any time. That affecting the kid after certain age, that applies to their karma. Like it is said that up to 8 years of age, the kid is not very, he does not develop good understanding, and he is not accountable for his actions because he has not fully formed his free will. And after that, he is held responsible to the degree that he's supposed to be engaged in. So that the thing that you are saying applies in that case, that they are held responsible for their actions. But prayers always you can, you should if you can, but we should not do things like, oh, chanting. Oh, I'll chant one extra round for him. It's like asking the Lord some bribe, using the name, holy name, for some material purpose. Of course, it's a spiritual purpose, but the holy name should not be used for that kind of thing. You can pray to the Lord, my Lord, if you so desire, please make this person a devotee, if you so desire. But we should not give a transaction. Oh, I'm chanting one round, my Lord. So, like that. Because holy name has to be done very carefully, not a aparadha kind.
Oh, so Prabhuji, then I see some people when some emergency surgeries or when some chronic health issues comes, they say, okay, let's pray one round for this so and so Mataji or so and so Prabhuji so that they can get better soon. So is that also a bribing kind then? If
Yeah,
you do
I
like that?
won't I won't recommend.
Oh,
Different devotees have different viewpoints on this, but I don't personally recommend chanting extra rounds. But you can pray to the Lord.
mm,
You can pray to the Lord. Offer your prayers, Lord, if you so desire, if you so want. Please cure this devotee so they can engage in your service nicely.
thank you so much for clarifying, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.